Martin Luther King Jr., also known as Michael King Jr., was a Baptist minister and social activist who led the civil rights movement in the United States from the mid-1950s until his assassination in 1968. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Your ignorance is their power. Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. Science investigates, religion interprets. Science gives man knowledge, which is power. Religion gives man wisdom, which is control. Science deals mainly with facts, religion deals mainly with values. The two are not rivals. It does not matter how long you live, but how well you do it. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Live like Jesus died yesterday, rose this morning, and is coming back tomorrow. To be great, you have to be willing to be mocked, hated, and misunderstood. Stay strong. You will change your mind, you will change your looks, you will change your smile, laugh, and ways, but no matter what you change, you will always be you. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. There's something about love that builds up and is creative. There is something about hate that tears down and is destructive. So love your enemies. The quality, not the longevity, of one's life is what is important. Every man lives in two realms, the internal and the external. The internal is that realm of spiritual ends expressed in art, literature, morals, and religion. The external is that complex of devices, techniques, mechanisms, and instrumentalities by means of which we live. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? There is nothing more tragic than to find an individual bogged down in the length of life, devoid of breadth. Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. Whatever your life's work is, do it well. A man should do his job so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn could do it no better. Love is creative, understanding goodwill for all men. It is the refusal to defeat any individual. When you rise to the level of love, of its great beauty and power, you seek only to defeat evil systems, individuals who happen to be caught up in that system. You love, but you seek to defeat the system. Another way that you love your enemy is this: when the opportunity presents itself for you to defeat your enemy, that is the time which you must not do it. Those who are not looking for happiness are the most likely to find it, because those who are searching forget that the surest way to be happy is to seek happiness for others. Now there is a final reason I think that Jesus says, love your enemies. It is this, that love has within it a redemptive power. And there is a power there that eventually transforms individuals. Everybody can be great, because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace. A soul generated by love. No one really knows why they are alive until they know what they die for. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Nonviolence is absolute commitment to the way of love. Love is not emotional bash, it is not empty sentimentalism. It is the active outpouring of one's whole being into the being of another. Like an unchecked cancer, hate corrodes the personality and eats away its vital unity. Hate destroys a man's sense of values and his objectivity. It causes him to describe the beautiful as ugly and the ugly as beautiful, and to confuse the true with the false and the false with the true. The difference between a dreamer and a visionary is that a dreamer has his eyes closed and a visionary has his eyes open. One day we will learn that the heart can never be totally right when the head is totally wrong. There can be no deep disappointment where there is not deep love. Man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. Let no man pull you low enough to hate him. You are not only responsible for what you say, but also for what you do not say. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. A man who won't die for something is not fit to live. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemy. Character is how you treat those who can do nothing for you. The choice is not between violence and non-violence, but between non-violence and non-existence. Peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but as a means by which we arrive at that goal. Violence brings only temporary victories. Violence, by creating many more social problems than it solves, never brings permanent peace. Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Nonviolence means avoiding not only external physical violence but also internal violence of spirit. You not only refuse to shoot a man but you refuse to hate him. A riot is the language of the unheard. Those who love peace must learn to organize as effectively as those who love war. It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. The limitation of riots, moral questions aside, is that they cannot win and their participants know it. Hence, rioting is not revolutionary but reactionary because it invites defeat. It involves an emotional catharsis, but it must be followed by a sense of futility. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. It is not possible to be in favor of justice for some people and not be in favor of justice for all people. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. A right delayed is a right denied. The time is always right to do what is right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. One has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. The only weapon that we have in our hands this evening is the weapon of protest. That's all. At the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must take it because his conscience tells him it is right. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. Almost always, the creative dedicated minority has made the world better. Never be afraid to do what's right. Especially if the well-being of a person or animal is at stake. Society's punishments are small compared to the ones we inflict on our soul when we look the other way. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus but a molder of consensus. I have a dream that one day little black boys and girls will be holding hands with little white boys and girls. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. Lightning makes no sound until it strikes. We must use time creatively, in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal. Everything that we see is a shadow cast by that which we do not see. A lie cannot live. The richer we have become materially, the poorer we become morally and spiritually. We have learned to fly in the air like birds and swim in the sea like fish, but we have not learned the simple art of living together as brothers. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. No person has the right to reign on your dreams. Property is intended to serve life, and no matter how much we surround it with rights and respect, it has no personal being. It is part of the earth man walks on. It is not man. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. If you lose hope, somehow you lose the vitality that keeps moving, you lose that courage to be, that quality that helps you go on in spite of it all. And so today I still have a dream. Free at last, thank God Almighty we are free at last. Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the pressure, it must be demanded by the oppressed. This faith transforms the whirlwind of despair into a warm and reviving breeze of hope. The words of a motto which a generation ago were commonly found on the wall in the homes of devout persons need to be etched on our hearts. Fear knocked at the door. Faith answered. There was no one there. Like and subscribe to this life-changing YouTube channel for more great insightful videos.